What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Tapped in 209. It's just me and Alvin today. You'll see Karsten and a special guest at the very end of this episode with a great interview. It was, really great to be a part of, and it was quite lengthy, which is fine. And with that, we're going to make this as speedy as we can, get you guys to that interview. And so with that, we're just going to move straight into last week, which was week 8 in the SJ2A. We saw West go into Tokay, that old T-Cal matchup. It was 62-8 win for Tokay. A couple guys we want to highlight. Jaden Barba, 6 for 9, 98 yards and 2 touchdowns. Amir Fleming, 10 carries, 184, 4 touchdowns. Levi Stockton through the air for Tokay had 3 catches, 43 yards with a touchdown, and an interception each for Eduardo Ochoa and Isaac Ledesma. Hopefully I said that right.
Yep, yep.
Okay. Stag gets the win on the road at McNair, 32-8. Bear Creek wins the second game in a row over a third game at
3 wins. No, they've
three.
won 3 games total.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
second in
like
a
2 in a
row though.
row.
I believe
Yes,
two in a
yes,
row.
yes.
Yep. Yeah, they moved to the 3-win column, which is 3 wins better
Woo.
than last year.
That's it.
They take down a beaten up Franklin, 47-26 on the road. Brody Chan was the guy at quarterback. 5 for 10, 82 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jeremiah Robertson had a great day on the ground. 11 carries, 117, 2 touchdowns with a defensive sack as well. Keandre Porter catching all, 4 out of the 5 catches, 4 receptions, 44 yards, and a touchdown. On the Franklin side, it wasn't all bad. Miguel Pulido was 13 for 26, 186, 3 touchdowns and a pick. It's really not a bad day, especially for Franklin, putting up 26 points. That wins you a lot of your games. On the ground, it was Aiden Rackley, 17 carries, 73 yards with a touchdown, and Donovan Zhang, 4 catches, 66 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chavez gets the forfeit win over Weston Ranch. They played, I don't maybe half a game, if
So
that.
yeah, the score at half was 33-0, and I saw, the forfeit come up on Max Preps and messaged Coach Graves, and he said essentially they didn't have enough players to finish the game. I don't know if it was, injuries. You can't just play with 11 guys.
Right,
So I
yeah.
mean, you got to have substitutes available, and they just didn't finish that game. So shout out to Coach Graves for getting me that info pretty
Yeah,
quickly.
being
Really
very helpful.
appreciate that. Yes, yes. So
Yeah. And Alvin, this is your section. Go ahead and take us away with the VOL.
all right, VOL first game we had East Union travel to Manteca. East Union 20, Manteca 56. East Union Jackson Fay had to play quarterback. Simone was out this week. Unfortunately, he's got an Achilles strain. So Jackson Fay went for 21 carries, 187 yards, 3 touchdowns. Hoku Ape, 13 tackles. Eric Cortez, 7 tackles, 1 sack. For Manteca, um,
I couldn't
I don't
find
have
anything
it.
on Max
I
Preps, yeah.
had something. Yeah, I'll have to find it. But Nico was doing Nico things,
Hmm.
and I believe he had 2 touchdowns, and Ma Tavilea, I think we had 2 touchdowns as well.
Wow. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, real quick before you move on, like this game was gonna be electric, I feel. Like the fact that this EU team can still put up, 20 points without a starting quarterback just shows
yeah,
how powerful this offense is. And so I would have loved to see, Simone in at QB and how high they could have gotten the score.
right, right, right. So in next game we had Central Catholic and Oakdale. Oakdale 60, Central Catholic 46. Just let's think something about Central Catholic. They haven't won a lot of games this year, but the teams that they're losing to are they're playoff teams. And sometimes it just happens. It may seem like a down year, but you're playing great competition right now. So, of course, for Oakdale, Wes Burford, 25 carries, 290 yards, add another 5 touchdowns to his total, 7 tackles and 1 tackle for loss on defense. Uh, Richard Flores again, my quote unquote wide receiver slash running back, 19 carries, 196 yards, 3 touchdowns. Last game we have Patterson 56, Sierra 6. Patterson, Caden Lozano again, 11 for 15, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns, 7 carries, 89 yards, and 1 touchdown on the ground. Dason Pettis had 19 carries, 211 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And Jace Johnson, 3 receptions, 50 yards, 1 touchdown. On defense, Patterson had 7 sacks total.
Yeah, it
Mountain
was
House, yeah,
just a
go ahead.
ridiculous game on Patterson's side. It's kind of like how it shows really how good they have been all year. They just like we talk about it every week, just can't get over the hump. They lose games by,
Yeah,
1 to 2 scores and that, against good teams.
and like I said, the VOL is stacked. I think pound for pound, VOL is the best league in the area.
Hmm.
Um,
Absolutely.
the Mountain House was on a bye.
Yeah. TCal. Lincoln goes on the road to Tracy and loses 48-26. On the Lincoln side, Julian Perez, 16 for 28, 291, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Jay Shannon Martin Jr., 8 carries, 40 yards and a touchdown. Through the air, it was three guys, really. David Gray, 3 catches, 35 yards and a touchdown. I know he's up there in TCal for total touchdowns. He was up there, I believe, 2 weeks ago on our graphic side of it. Taylor Orange, 7 catches, 93 yards, and Jesse Perez, 5 catches, 126, and a touchdown. Tracy side, David Grisham at 18 carries, 151, 2 touchdowns, and on the defensive side, had a pick. David Gularte was 2 catches, 47 yards, and both of those catches being touchdowns. Defensively, Case Borges, 9 tackles, 2 of them for loss. Lodi loses at home against Kimball, 28-22. But on the Lodi side, it wasn't all bad. Cooper Metler, 20 carries, 70 yards, and a touchdown. Noah Hufford did it on both sides. 3 catches, 21 yards. Defensively, 6 tackles and a sack. 3 defensive interceptions for Lodi, and they still get the loss. You have to be able to capitalize on the defensive turnovers.
Hmm.
So yeah, short TCal. And that moves us straight into our game of the week, and it was nothing short of exciting. Edison loses at home 44-27 to St. Mary's. I know in this one, Devin Rasmussen had a rough time.
Yep.
I know he got benched about halfway through this game. So he before he got benched, he was 18 for 31, 246, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And freshman quarterback Aiden McClendon came in, was 6 for 10, 115, and a touchdown. Through the air, Langdon Horace had 8 catches, 127, and a touchdown. Alonzo Ward also had 7 catches, 94 yards with a touchdown. Defensively, Desmond Sanders with an interception. And on the St. Mary's side, kind of a little bit of an off game for Jaden Galvan. 7 for
Yes.
17, 107 and a pick. Like it's
I
not normal.
I will say they just couldn't get the passing going at the beginning of the game. It was back and forth, and then something just clicked. Just start running the ball. Once St. Mary's went to the run, this game was over. I mean, they just were running at will. Shout out to Mike Montijo giving us at
Yep.
Tapped In 209 a big shout out during the game on SM Rams TV. We appreciate you, Mike. Um, but it was St. Mary's. They found a way to win. Not just being one dimensional. They're not. They got so many weapons, and
Mm-hmm.
all they utilized. The running game this time
Yeah,
around.
a quarterback's not going to have a great game every day. And eh, thank goodness the Rams have multiple ways to attack you on offense.
Yes.
And with that, it was Diego Hernandez day. 19 carries, 97 yards, 3 touchdowns. I believe looking back at the stats, they had like 4 or 5 different runners in this
Yep.
game. One of them being Kenny Moore the third with 3 carries and 25 yards with a touchdown. He also had just 2 catches for 21 yards through the air. Landon McClendon Jr., 9 tackles, 3 sacks. Partner that with Jake Lucatello with five tackles, 3 of them for loss. And again, the 3 defensive interceptions for the Rams. It's probably what put them over for this game. But yeah, like we talk about the pass game kind of struggling, and that's because you're going against Langdon Horace on the other side. Like statistically, defensively, I think he had 1 tackle, but that's just because the ball wasn't going his way. Because he's just such a lockdown corner.
Right.
when he's playing both sides of the ball. So with that, we're going to hear from Johns.
Tonight's episode is brought to you by John's Deli, the go-to spot for incredible Italian sandwiches and comfort food. We're talking fresh baked bread, premium meats and cheeses, and bold flavors that hit the spot every single time. Whether you're stopping for a quick lunch, grabbing dinner for the family, or ordering a platter for game day, John's has got you covered. Don't settle for ordinary. Elevate your meal with John's Deli, where every bite is made with care. Swing by today and taste the difference. John's Deli is located at 2112 Pacific Avenue in Stockton, California.
Yeah, with that, you guys know what comes next. It's going to be our Johns Player of the Week, and this week it's the sophomore out of Tracy, Brady Brown. 8 for 8, 140, 154, and 4 touchdowns through the air, on top of another 11 carries, 128 yards, and a touchdown on the ground. That's 5 total touchdowns. That
Yep.
is ridiculous.
He's been doing it, all year. So I mean, look for him in the next 2 years to you know, just
Really step it
explode.
up. Yeah.
Really step it up and, put put his name, in the record books. So he's gonna be a good one. So keep an eye out for him. He is a three-sport athlete. Plays basketball and baseball as well.
Yeah,
So
it's gonna be fun to cover him for the rest of the year.
yes,
Like if you're doing it on the football side, you can do it on all
yes,
three sides.
yes. He's like TP 2.0.
Okay. Okay.
So
With that,
so
we're gonna move straight into next week. It's gonna be week 9. We're gonna take a look at the SJ2A. Chavez 8-0, a perfect 5-0 in league. Gonna take on McNair on the road. They're 3-4, but the 3 wins have been all in league, and they're 3-2. Last year Chavez did win this one 26-18.
oh,
Um, I
close one.
It was close. But I think Chavez is just that much of a better team this year. I
Okay,
think they go into McNair and stomp them.
okay, like that.
Moving on, Bear
Mm.
Creek looking for their 3rd win in a row over a 1-7 West. Bear Creek comes into this one 3-5. West did win this one last year though, 41-30. See if Bear Creek's got a little bit of revenge in them. And they're hot right now.
Yeah, no, I'm hoping Bear Creek pulls it off again. Let's go Bruins. So, all right.
Yeah, Franklin and Weston Ranch. Weston Ranch will host this one. They're 0-7. Franklin's 2-6. Both teams winless in league. Western Ranch did actually
Mm,
win this one last year, 19-13.
okay.
Take us away with the VOL.
VOL, we got Patterson, I believe at Manteca. Patterson's 3-6. Manteca is 8-0. They are perfect. They are. I'm looking for them to win again. Last year they won 39-27. I'm thinking this win is going to be probably, by 20,
Yeah.
20 in Manteca's favor. This is Patterson's last game of the season because there's an odd number of teams in that league, so they will be on a
Hmm.
bye out of next week. We got Oakdale playing Sierra. Last year, 63-21. I see more of the same. I see
Absolutely.
West running for 5 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns again.
Yeah,
West doing West things
of
again.
course.
Um, Last game, Mountain House is going to play Central Catholic. Both teams are 3-5. Last year, Central Catholic won 52-19. I see Central Catholic winning this handily
Yeah, you
on
see two, three,
Friday
and five
night.
teams, and they're
Yeah,
only one game
West.
apart in league, but it's a different 3 and 5. It's a
Yeah,
it's a
Central
tough
Catholic
schedule
played.
for Central Catholic, and it's a not so tough like preseason for Mountain House.
Right, right, correct. And then I think, like I said, East Union is on a bye this week.
Yeah, much needed by
Yep.
because I believe they have. I want to say they have Oakdale to finish out the year, maybe not.
No, Oakdale Manteca finished the
Oakdale
year.
Manteca, that's what it is.
Yes, yes, that's the big game
Yeah.
for all the
With that,
marbles.
yeah, we'll move right into TCal. Edison going on the road to Kimball. Edison's a full 4-4. Kimball is 3-5. Edison won this one 23-7 last year. I see it kind of being if the offense can get back to what they can be. I think another 2-score game.
Mm-hmm. I
Lodi
agree.
taking on Lincoln in Stockton. It was 38-27 Lincoln win last year. I don't think this one is going to be close this year.
No. I see Julian Perez throwing for 4 touchdowns this week
Absolutely.
against
Yeah.
Lodi. Yep. So
And last but not least, St. Mary's will take on Tracy at home. St. Mary's is 6-2, perfect in league, and Tracy is 4-4, as they are they're 2-1 in league. So if they can find a way to squeak this one out, league's kind of theirs.
yeah, I think I love what Brady Brown is doing in Tracy, but I think it's a tall order against the St. Mary's team.
Yeah,
But I think he's going to put his talent, on display some come Friday night. So put the league on notice.
absolutely.
So
Yeah. I mean, they only put up 14 points last year. It was 45-14 in St. Mary's favor, but
yeah,
this is going to be the second time Brady Brown's seeing this defense. Um, and so maybe we see something out of him. Like hopefully he stays hot, right? And we see a close game.
yeah, yep, yep.
So
Also, I think David Grisham is their running back. So you see you know Tracy maybe going away from their normal running game and opening it up. So hopefully have a close game come Friday night.
absolutely. Before we hit our game of the week, let's hear from Coop.
Every rep, every play, every moment, your hard work deserves to be remembered. And that's why Cooper Flicks Photography delivers. From intense game day action shots to cinematic highlight videos, Cooper captures the drive, the hustle, and the story behind every athlete. Whether you're chasing college recruitment, building your brand, or just want to showcase your journey, Cooper Flicks makes you look like a pro. Book your session on Instagram at Cooper Flicks Photography and turn your moments into highlights. Cooper Flicks Photography can be found on Instagram at Cooper.flicks, two S's.
Yeah. And of course, his links will be down in the description below. Go ahead and reach out to him. He's pretty good at what he does. With that, it's going to be our game of the week. It's coming out of the SJ2A. Tokay going on the road to Stag. Tokay is 6-2. They're 4-1 in league. But they cannot win league unless Chavez can somehow loses. Even then they have to lose twice. But
Yeah.
Stag, this is a big game for Stag because they're a perfect 5-0 in league as well. And our standings are second in league. Max Preps has them at 1 in league. But they're 7-1. They've been on fire. So I think I just looked, they won their last 7 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So Tokay did win this one last year, 28-14, but I think the Stag team is just different this year.
Where's this game at?
At Stag.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
So
I
I guess
think Stag
Huntsville.
can win this game, but you never know what you're going
Yeah.
to see out of Tokay.
Nope, nope, you don't know. All right.
So with that, we're going to move into our last segment. It's a new old segment. It's going to be Heat
Hmm.
Check. Our Heat Check standings. We're changing the name of our power rankings, make it a little bit easier for people to kind of understand and like what we're trying to get out of our standings. With it, not a lot of changes. I don't think there's actually any changes going off of last week because everybody won. And so didn't really feel like there was changes that needed to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I felt like if anyone should have gone up, it probably would have been St. Mary's because they played a very good Edison team.
Mm-hmm.
Edison is probably, in the area, based, if you look at their strength of schedule, the players that are on board, they're a pretty good team. So if anything, I probably would have moved them up, but everyone handled business this week.
Yeah,
When you handle business and you're staying hot, then there's no reason to drop you down.
absolutely.
So unless something crazy happens. But I think in 2 weeks, that's when a lot of these teams start playing each other. I think
Mm-hmm.
Halloween, October 30th, you have Stag and
And
Chavez on
Chavez,
Thursday night. And then October 31st, you're going to have
Manteca,
Manteca
Oakdale.
Oakdale. And so I think there's going to be a lot of shuffling come that following
Yeah,
week. So
yeah,
it's going to be a fun time to watch high school football. This is it's getting interesting.
yeah.
So
So for those of you that didn't watch last week's episode, St. Mary's is at the 5, Stag at 4, Oakdale at 3, Chavez and Manteca are both undefeated. Chavez at 2, Manteca at 1. Yeah, and again, it's heat check. It's how hot are you right now? And these teams have all been on fire this year. And so with that, we're going to get you right into the interview. You're going to see Karsten again, and we're going to be seeing St. Mary's strength and conditioning coach, Josh Rodriguez. You'll see him right now. What's up, everybody? Yes, we got J-Rod here, the St. Mary's strength and conditioning coach. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. Long day's work started at 7. I'm still in the gym right now. So I just got done, but doing good. Doing good.
Absolutely. And you said everything's going all right. Busy season. You got football wrapping up, volleyball kind of getting into playoffs and everything as well. And then you also, basketball season is rolling around and soccer and all that. So pretty
Right.
busy, I'm assuming.
Yeah, really busy. The winter sports are starting up, and the fall sports are trying to finish strong right now. So it's a fun time of year. It's a fun time of year.
Yeah. So first question of the day is who are you? Where do you come from? High school, college? What's your background?
Yeah, so I grew up in Galt, just up the road. My parents were originally from Stockton. Housing was cheap when I was growing up, so they bought a house in Galt. I went to Galt High School back when there was just one high school over there. Um, Played 3 sports: basketball, football, baseball in high school. So that's kind of where the sports background comes from. And then played baseball, continued to play baseball in college. I played at Delta for a couple years for Reed Peters. Strong program over there at Delta. So that was a great experience to be a part of. And then I went and played at a D2 college called East Central University in Oklahoma. So went out there, got to play baseball for as long as I could. Great experience. Um, when I was done playing baseball out there, I still was doing my master's, getting my master's over there. So I fell in love with the weight room when I was out there. We had a great weight room. We had a really good strength coach. His name was Coach Womack, and he ended up transferring over to University of North Carolina to do their football program. But he really got me to fall in love with the weight room. We had a nice weight room, we had a great strength coach, introduced Olympic lifts to me. So I was just a gym rat when I was over there, and I was in the gym all the time. And then when I graduated college, I got the opportunity to do a grad assistant coach as I was doing my master's over there. Um, and then I really fell in love with the weight room. It was really cool to work with different sports, not just be a coach for one sport, but kind of be a part of everything. I did everything from we did tennis, we did golf, we did volleyball, basketball, football, the main sports. But it was really cool and fun to have that creativity to come up with different workouts for different sports. So when I came back home, the strength and conditioning field it's a hard field to get your foot in the door. So there wasn't a ton of availability for strength coaches. So I got my teaching credential when I got back home. So I had something to make a career out of, and I always kept my eyes open. Did some personal training, started at 24-hour fitness, did a couple years over there, then worked at a more of like a CrossFit style gym, a box gym called Box Fit Elite over in downtown Stockton. Worked over there for a couple years. Shout out to their owner Lance over there. He does a good job. So I kind of just did some personal training. Then I started coaching at Club All Star, where we know
Mm-hmm.
each other from, Drew.
Absolutely.
Um, and then they started like a sports performance side thing over there too. So I started working with some boys over there. So I just continued to train people and um, while I was teaching, and then it's a small world. Randy Ortega, who was the head coach over here at St. Mary's for a few years. I coached his kid over at Club All Star, and he recruited me to come coach baseball over here and to do the strength and conditioning for the baseball team. So I did that for I think it was 4 years, and then just randomly one day we were watching the Warriors Kings playoff game, and Adam Lichter happened to be at the watch party, and we were just chit chatting, and it's just so happened that they just opened a strength and conditioning job at this school. And he's like, "Yeah, man, you got a or a strength and conditioning background, right?" And I said, "Yep." He sent me the link right there to the application on the spot. Um, Interviewed for the job and got the job, and we hit the ground running, and couldn't be more blessed to call this place my home. So I want to give a big shout out to Adam for the opportunity and for trusting me and letting me run away with this gig. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. Like, when I was there and everything, like a lot of fun, and you make the weight room fun and enjoyable. We still get our work done. And
Right.
I know you still do it now.
Right.
See it out in
Yep.
the field and everything. So, with that, let's talk about your time right now at St. Mary's. And what's your overall philosophy when it comes into the training high school athletes?
So I've kind of learned like I did it at the college level and I did it at the high school level, and there's levels to this thing, right? So as a high school athlete coming in as a freshman, my philosophy is to do the little things and the basic things really, really, really freaking good, first and foremost. Um, Combine that with a good work ethic, and you're going to be all right. I think people overlook the little things. We're in an age these days with social media, and you'll see people doing all this fancy stuff on Instagram and this and that. And it's like, yeah, that's great and all, but you shouldn't be doing that stuff before you can do a front squat properly or be able to lift a bar off the ground properly, right? So doing the little things really, really well and have a good work ethic. Um, there's so many different ways that you can program and so many different ways that you can structure programming. But at the end of the day, if you go attack a workout and you put your full effort into it and you get the most out of that workout, you're going to get better. You're going to get better. So my philosophy is really, really simple. Do the basics well and work hard. Simple as that for a high school athlete. If you can do those two things, then you'll be all right. And it's just with like any sport, right?
Hmm.
Professional athletes at the highest level, you'll see pro baseball players still doing dailies, or quarterbacks in the NFL still going through dry mechanics, or Steph Curry will sit under the hoop and he'll do form shooting from 1 foot away and then work his way back. Those are the basic things. You got to be able to fall in love with the boring a little bit and be able to do that really well.
I got
Absolutely.
I got a question. What's the best advice you could give to an incoming eighth grader that's probably going to see a weight room for the first time, and probably be overwhelmed,
Right.
right? Like, I'm sure you have younger kids maybe that come to you and get trained, but what would you tell, an eighth grader that's coming in and walking into a weight room for the very, very first time?
Right. Just reinforcing that everybody starts somewhere, right? Everybody has had their first time in the gym, and to not be afraid of failure. Part of being a good athlete is attacking your weaknesses, right? For any sport, if there's a certain part of your game that you're not good at, then you got to be able to go attack your weakness. Um, and if when you come in the weight room, if there's things that you can't do well, whether that's being able to get a full range of motion or perform a squat properly, or I can't jump very high right now, falling in love with the process of attacking your weakness and constantly improving is super important for them to understand. If you can teach your body how to do new things in the weight room, more than likely when you get on the field or the court, um, you'll be able to teach your body to do new things and continually adapt and become a better athlete. So don't be afraid of failure, but find your weaknesses and go attack them. That's probably the best advice I can give. And preparation is huge. Preparation makes creates separation, right? Especially at the high school level. You can tell the kids that have put the time and prepared and prep their body for a full
Mm-hmm.
season of work, and you can tell the ones that haven't. And there's that separation, especially over the course of a season. And then you combine that over the course of your 4 year career in high school. There's some kids that come in and they're really, really good freshman athletes. And those kids usually kind of the mindset with some of those kids is I'm already good. And
Mm-hmm.
so they lose the value in grinding and working hard to improve themselves because they're already so good. Um, but then you got the kids that want to come in and grind and prepare. That separation kind of closes over the course of the 4 years for the more talented kids sometimes. Um, but you can tell the kids that are prepared. So preparation is everything.
Leading into that, the freshman part, what percentage you think actually take it seriously? I'm assuming as years go on, they get, obviously more in tune to it, and
Yeah,
from not just weightlifting but also their nutrition. I mean, I can tell you firsthand that you probably drive into these boys with Carson here, the nutrition part of it, because I'm meal prepping for him every Sunday. That's by hour, hour and a half, getting him
right,
all his food ready. So, and I know a
right.
lot of the boys now meal prep at school,
Yeah,
Hmm.
which is huge.
yeah. No, that's great. As far as percentage that take it seriously, I would say the majority of kids. I don't know what that number looks like. It usually changes from year to year, but the thing with them, with most freshmen, is it's fairly fresh to them, so they like the new challenge of things, and the growth is exponential when you first start getting in the gym.
Hmm.
um and I think they enjoy that. They enjoy being able to see themselves do things that they couldn't do a month ago or a week ago, or whether that's setting a PR, or I can jump this high, or I couldn't run this fast. So I think in the gym, the majority of kids take it seriously. Sometimes they need to be redirected because they're freshman kids and
Yeah.
they get
Hmm.
distracted by everything. I would say the nutrition is the harder part to get them more serious about and more focused on, and understand the value of that. Um, Kids are garbage disposals at this age, and they can kind of eat things and get away with it a little bit,
Right.
but you can only do that for so long. And there's a time where that just stops happening, and you got to put the right food in your body, and refuel yourself with the right stuff and drink enough water, and eventually they'll find out that that stuff matters, and it's hard for them to understand that until it actually hits them. So I would say that's the harder part of the job. I
Mm.
still, to this day, I make it a point to go and grab a breakfast burrito during our break, and kids know by this point I'm scoping the room. So I'm seeing what they're putting in their hands.
Yeah.
There's kids that are walking around with a big chocolate chip cookie at that time. And then, so I gotta get like, hey, can we get some protein in the diet in the morning, please? Not just pump yourself full of sugar. Um,
Yeah.
so I try to stay on them that way, because I get to be here on campus and I get to see them walk around, and I see the food that they put in their body. So
Hmm.
just being a constant reinforcement, I think over time helps with that
Okay.
situation.
For sure.
Cool.
Um,
How would
oh,
you structure a typical week of training for beginners versus advanced lifters?
Yeah, so especially with the groups as big as they are over here. I mean,
Mhm.
some groups there's 40 kids, so you get a wide array of ability in the same room at the same time sometimes. So the structure stays the same, and where the variability comes in is the load and intensity that the more advanced lifters can do it at. Um, we have some kids that have dialed in clean technique or squat technique. So the programming stays the same. It's the load and intensity that the more beginner athletes, they're still working on form. So I ask them to stay light. When you could do it perfect at this weight, then we can start to add some weight to it. Um, the more advanced athletes who already have that dialed in, now they can load the bar a little bit more, or move heavier weight, um, or advance different plyometrics and stuff like that, little kinks like that. But for the most part, the actual programming itself, to keep the whole program on the same page, stayed the same. Like I said at the beginning, um, advanced athletes are never too good to do the basic things really well. If you look at like Olympic lifters, for example, their training is all doing the basic things over and over and over again. They squat heavy, they clean heavy, they do pulls from the floor, um, and they just learn to do that really, really well. And then week by week, they progressive overload, and they go through cycles, and they get stronger through that cycle. So programming stays the same. Loading and intensity changes based on the ability of the athlete.
makes sense. You talk about, like, a lot of the simple things and getting those things right. What are those foundational movements in the gym?
Yeah, so I think every athlete should be able to do a handful of things in the weight room. One of them's to squat. be able to get a full range of motion squat, have good technique. We always start with the goblet squat, then we transition to a front squat, and once we have that down, we'll implement the back squat as well. Unilateral leg movements, which means we're just using one leg at a time. So split squat, lunge, step up should be done really well. All athletes, most athletes, I should say, they run, and running is a single leg movement, right? You're one leg at a time with a knee drive, so the single leg things are important. Vertical press, which means I'm pressing straight up. Horizontal press is a staple, and then vertical pull, horizontal pull is also a staple, pulling both ways. And then in my programming, we Olympic lifts. So being able to hang clean. The teams that are able to get in here a little bit more often, like football does a whole 4-day-a-week off-season training for 6 months. So we're able to touch base into snatches as well. So all those movements are foundational movements that I think athletes should have in their arsenal.
How do you accommodate students with different athletic backgrounds or physical abilities?
Yeah, so it's just, again, like we talked about earlier, it's the loading of it,
Mhm.
and then just giving them a different demand. So the foundational lifters, I can't. I know they see other people doing different things in here, and it's just a reinforcement of like, hey, that person started at the same spot you're at now. So let's learn to crawl before we walk and walk before we run, type of thing, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
If a baby tries to get up and just run, they fall on their face, and that's what I tell them. Like, let's do this really really well before we can do this. Um, so yeah, the more advanced athletes, they're given a different demand, but it's not crazy different, right? It's let's load the bar heavier, or hey, if we're doing this type of plyometric, let's throw a jump turn into it or something like that. It's real small differences. Um, but it's not a huge difference. Their training program doesn't have this big variability in it. I ask all my athletes to be able to do what we do in here really well, and that's those basic things.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And this is going to be geared more for like the smaller groups. How do you how are you tracking students' progresses, like their maxes and stuff like that?
Yeah, so that becomes tricky too, just based on how often teams get in here. Um, the teams that are in here year round, I try to test twice a year. The teams that aren't, just once. Doing more than that, it's hard with some teams because they're only in here for 6 months out of the year. And it's not like you want to be testing 3 times in a 6 month window, right? You're not able to go through a full periodization um, and progressive overload and be ready for that sort of demand. So I just track on a spreadsheet. I keep it. I'm old school. I have no fancy app. Um, I just keep it old school. We'll test a squat. I just got a vert tester now this year too, so we'll test that.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
we test our clean. We test a press, our bench press. Um, we test a chin up, test a broad jump. We'll go outside and run. So the football team will do 40-yard sprints. The baseball guys will do 60-yard sprints. And then my hockey athletes and basketball athletes will do a 30-yard because that's the length of their court. Um, and I just track it on a spreadsheet. I'll write the date. We'll test it again in the middle of the year if they're year athletes that are coming in for the whole year. Um, or I'll test it a year later for those athletes that are just in here 3 to 6 months. And we'll look back on it. We just did some testing with the basketball team actually, and it was really cool to see the jump in their numbers. We had one kid, JJE, that just got hurt this last year. He tore his ACL less than a year ago,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
he went through his rehab process, and he's still going through it now. And we tested clean. I was just like, hey, take it easy. You don't got to set any PRs or anything like that. Um, so he went through. He's like, okay, I'm good right here. I don't want to push it anymore. And we looked back at his numbers from a year ago, and it was a 10-pound jump from a year
Awesome.
ago.
Wow.
Post ACL
Mm-hmm.
rehab injury, so he hasn't
Yeah.
been able to do that lift. So yeah, that was really cool to watch the growth, and
Yeah.
tracking those numbers is fun, and it's fun for the kids too, just to look back and see where they were at, and see what kind of growth they had, because that's what all it's about, right? That's why we get in here, is so we can do things that we weren't able to before. We had some kids 50-pound jump on their clean.
Wow.
All the kids were 20 to 30, some of them 40 pounds on their bench press. So just track it on a spreadsheet. We keep it old school. No need to get fancy with that stuff, right? You can look at a spreadsheet and say, this is where I'm at today. This is where I was at before. I'm getting better, yes, or I'm staying the same, or I'm getting worse. It's one of the three things. So yeah, we just keep it on a spreadsheet and we track it, and it's fun to look back now this next year. I've been here for 3 years now, so next year will be four. So the seniors next year will be freshmen, and I'll have some of their numbers from freshman year, and that'll be really cool to look at
Mm-hmm.
and see that growth and progress over the course of a 4-year span. Be cool.
And we've touched base on this before, but what role does nutrition and recovery play in your program? And do you educate your student athletes about it?
Yeah, so like the education process is a little bit more informal. It's I wish that I can dive deep into it, and it's a big rabbit hole. I got to dive a little bit deeper into it with the basketball program actually this last year, because they were in 3 days a week for a whole off season. So I dedicated one day where we just were able to talk about that. But some of the teams are only in here for 2 hours a week. So a lot of the nutrition and recovery stuff is just informal, like at the end of a session. Hey, let's make sure we're getting enough water. Let's One of the most basic things I tell all my athletes is like counting calories and macros, and this whole thing is it's hard, right? It's very difficult and it's hard to sustain. So I tell them, if we're gonna start somewhere, let's track our protein numbers. Right? It's
Mhm.
really easy. All the kids have their phones. So I tell them to put it to use other than playing Clash Royale in class, or Snapchat. Like, let's learn to do something useful for it, right? Chat GPT, let's use it for something useful. If you type in what food you eat on your phone and just keep a log of it, you can track how much protein that you're eating a day. So tell them to make sure that they're hitting body weight in grams of protein. We'll talk about recovery stuff. Here's one of the most common misconceptions of recovery that I think kids have these days. It's like they think if they're sore that they can't do anything, right? They think that it inhibits them from doing something. Where I know the majority of athletes that are out there have been sore at some point in their training. If you get off your butt and you go move around, you feel a million times better than you would sitting still. So that's one of the main things I tell them about recovery. Um, is that if you move around, blood flow promotes that healing process, right? It delivers nutrients throughout your body quicker. It flushes some of that lactic acid out of your body quicker. So just getting out and moving around, um, it is something that I preach to them, and make sure that they're enforcing. Like, it's okay to be sore. You can. I used to love playing games a little bit sore. Just that it's just like that sense of confidence or accomplishment that you have when you earn that soreness through your training. Um, I used to like to play like that. I learned to function like that. And I think more athletes these days need to learn to do that. Like, hey, it's okay. Some of the kids will show up and they're like, I got a game tomorrow, coach, I have practice later. I don't want to be tired for practice. It's no, let's prepare your body to be able to handle this demand so that you can sustain this training level and you can do it throughout your season. Let's not avoid it because you don't want to feel tired for practice. Let's build the system so that it can do this and do that at the same time. Yeah. So to wrap up the question, we cover it. I would love to be able to cover it more. It's just a very time consuming topic that I can just get lost in. But it's more of just like a reinforcement at the end of a weightlifting session. Hey, let's make sure we're doing these things, these things, these things. And then, like I said, I like to walk around campus and see what kids are putting in their body, and give them reinforcement that way as well.
For sure. How do you handle discipline or a lack of effort, in the weight room? And I know when I was there, I saw it a lot, and I know how you handle it, but for the people that
Yeah.
don't.
Right. Yeah. Like, I mean, yeah, you've seen it firsthand. I'm one of those. I don't like to yell all the time. I know like there's a lot of strength coaches out there and they're just yelling all the time, or just coaches in general, and they yell all the time. I pride myself in saving my yelling for when it means something and in a teachable moment. I don't like to yell all the time because it loses its value when you're yelling all the time. If you don't yell all the time, and the second that you raise your voice, boom, they're attentive and they know. So I pick my spots with my yelling. If it's like a kid and if it's just a couple kids, I'll usually start off by walking over to them and not calling them out in the front of a group because some kids will shut down when you do that. So I'll just give them some positive reinforcement, like, "Hey, let's stay busy." And then if it becomes a continuous problem and kids aren't able to handle it, if I don't go put my arm around them, then there's only one other way to approach it, and that's a little bit more harsh of approach. So I like to find that balance um, of I'm not going to call you out and humiliate you in front of the team unless you need it, right? Um,
Hmm.
so just constant reinforcement. I roam the weight room, and then something I do to keep them on task too is we'll set the timer and do some tempo stuff. So everybody's got to be moving at the same time. That's something that I've implemented a lot more this last year, and it's really cool to see the teams like we'll do squats and everybody will be squatting and we'll like go off the timer or go off the whistle, and it's just cool to see the whole team moving in unison, up, down, boom, together, because that's something that they have to do on the football field or on the basketball court. And so I try to relate as much as we can to their sport specificity of why we do things in here. Like, hey, if you guys can't move together on a whistle in here and just move up and down, how do we expect to go apply those things um, on the field or on the court or in the pool or on the ice for the hockey team?
Mm.
So that's something that I do to try to just keep the focus so there isn't as many straight pieces moving around. But it's different from team to team, right? Like the girls basketball team's got 12 to 15 girls in here. So everybody, you can see everybody and you can do a little bit different stuff. The baseball program this year's got 54 kids. So making sure that we set strict expectations and making sure kids meet those expectations is super important. Um, it's, it's, it's a weird thing to do coming from the baseball side because as a baseball coach you can dictate playing time where a kid plays if they're in the lineup, if they're not in the lineup, something that you can't do as a strength coach. So it's a little bit different approach, and I'm still figuring that approach out. And I think it just varies from team to team and year to year as well.
And how do you stay current with training methods and trends in strength and conditioning?
I mean, yeah, that's the easy part. It's the easy part and it's the hard part these days because I can just pick up my phone and it's something that like it interests me. So I constantly find myself looking stuff up. My
Mhm.
Instagram feed is full of just strength coaches, training guys, CrossFit guys, NFL guys that train. Um, so I kind of pick and choose what I like from that stuff. It's easy to find that stuff. Um, it's hard because there's just so much stuff out there these days, right? You see
Hmm.
people
Mhm.
doing some weird stuff out there. So it's a combination of old school meets new school, so to speak. And I think there's that middle ground there, and it's important for people to understand just because you see it on Instagram or social media, TikTok, whatever, doesn't make it real or true, right? Like, hey, if you want to
Hmm.
get stronger, train like this, or you know what I mean? So it's important to have a well-rounded research approach when you're doing that stuff. Um, but connecting with other strength coaches too. I got a couple buddies that are strength coaches as well. One of them's with the Jaguars. Another one owns a gym out in Midwest. Um, that I strength coach with in college. And I still keep in contact with my old strength coaches from college. So just connecting and bouncing ideas too. The more minds, the better. That always helps as well. But it's something I live, I eat, sleep, and breathe it. I'm here all day. So it's something that I'm really interested in. So it's not hard to keep up with the training things. It's a little bit more difficult of a process implementing it, and finding out what works for my coaching style, what works for what we got here at St. Mary's, our personnel. But it's fun. I mean, there's so much creativity that you can put into it, and there's so many different ways that you can go. So that's super fun part about the job.
For sure. Last one before we get into our rapid fire questions. This one's going to be based around cardio. I know you did a couple years, for the last couple of years, you've been doing your mile a day and everything like that.
Right.
What is a good amount of cardio for, a student athlete for the day, for the week? Like where should they be focusing their cardio?
So it depends. It depends on what sport they play, right? For a baseball player, for example, I wouldn't recommend like long distance. Let's just move at one pace slowly, because that's not what they do for their sport, right? I recommend doing things that apply to the sport that you're playing. So for a baseball athlete, they should get out and they should do sprints. The only exception to that is like if you pitch and your arm's sore and you're trying to flush the body, maybe a long distance thing might be a little bit better. But do things that prepare you for your sport. Baseball players go out and sprint. Football players sprint, do intervals, shorten your rest, time your rest. I sprint this amount of distance, then I get this much rest, because that's what they do in football. They have a 40-second play clock. They snap the ball, receivers sprint down the field, run their route, and then they come back to the huddle, and then they repeat it again every 40 seconds. So they should train that way. Basketball players should be doing interval runs as well. They should be doing sprints. They should be doing interval runs, back and forth, moving up and down. So it varies on the sport that you play, and the frequency you want to match to what time of the season you're in, right? If you're in the off season, I mean, you could do that depending on your fitness level. You can do it 3 to 5 times a week and be perfectly fine and go attack it, right? In season, a lot of times, if you're in season, the practice should take care of that, right? If you practice at a high intensity, you're getting that cardio level, for whatever sport you're playing, you're getting that demand of your sport. So maybe that shrinks down a little bit to, on my off days, I'm going to get a little bit lighter of a cardio session in, more of a recovery, active recovery type of thing. And so usually in season, the practices is enough demand. The practice and the games is enough demand. In the off season, I mean, I'm somebody who I say go attack it, right? If your body feels good, the better shape that you're in, the better athlete that you're going to be, not just on game days. One of the big part of building endurance is so that you can practice really hard and get quality reps in over and over and over and over and over again without getting tired. That's where that separation happens, right? And that's something, if you would watch Steph Curry train in basketball, his workouts are insane, and he's able to run up and down the court and take hundreds of jump shots without getting tired. There's not a lot of other athletes that are able to get that type of training volume in. So it depends the time of year. Depends what sport you play. Depends your training outside of that. So there's a lot of variabilities into it. And just listening to your body is usually a good place to start. If you feel good and you can go do it, by all means, get out and go do it at a high intensity. Maybe your body's a little bit more beat up. Maybe I take down the intensity a little bit, but I just go out and move my body.
Cool. All right. We're going to head right into this rapid fire questions. For this, anything from, a word to a sentence as best as you can. I know sometimes these questions can be a couple sentences long, and that's all right. Just keep it as best as you can.
I'll keep it as brief as possible.
All right. First one, are you a front or back squat? Prefer?
Front squat, because it requires more athletic ability.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you rather go chalk or no chalk?
If I don't have freshman kids running around the weight room, chalk. With freshman kids running around the weight room, no chalk.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. What's your favorite muscle group to hit?
It's changed over my life. Used to be chest, now it's legs.
Okay.
Do you rather work out with the barbell or a dumbbell?
Dumbbells. You can do a little bit more athletic things with dumbbells.
Okay. Most underrated lift.
Oh man, that's a tough one. I'm gonna go just because it's my favorite. The reverse lunge.
What's the most overused exercise?
This one's easy because every high school kid comes right in here and they go straight to the bench press.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
so the bench
Knew that
press.
was coming.
My old strength coach used to say, if you're lying on your back pushing something heavy off of you in your sport, you're having a rough day.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that is fair.
And that's what you're doing on a bench press.
Yep. What's your best pre or post workout snack?
I'm a big peanut butter guy. So peanut butter and jelly or like a peanut butter and banana. Post, you throw the peanut butter in a protein shake and we're talking.
What's your go-to hype up song?
Till I Collapse by Eminem.
Biggest pet peeve in the weight room.
Just sounds like it's chalk.
Well, I haven't ran into that problem yet, so it's not. I got two of them. Khakis in the weight room.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Kids forget their shorts.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell them that they're not working at Best Buy, so keep those out of here. And then not having proper footwear in the weight room.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Those are my two biggest pet peeves.
How much sleep should athletes get?
I think 8 hours is a great number to work for. And I'm gonna expand on this just a little bit. I know this is rapid.
No, it's okay.
But we talked about the importance of nutrition and recovery and stuff. Sleep is the number one thing. Like that's where the growth hormone's happening. That's where your body's recovering. That's where you're recharging your battery for the rest of the day. I mean, we've all been there. We've gotten crappy sleep and we know how we feel in the morning, and we've gotten great sleep and it's game changing, right? There's literally like the endorphins that you get, the recovery that you get. It's life's best drug. It's just sleep and get a good night's rest. So I can't stress the importance of that for young athletes, especially growing bodies too. That's where the growth happens.
Yeah. All right, for our last one, who is your favorite athlete of all time?
I hate picking favorites just because there's so many. I'm gonna have to go with Barry Bonds just because I grew up watching him and he was the best baseball player that I ever got to watch. Although Shohei's making a case for that now, watching him disgust me. He's on the Dodgers.
So funny story. I was at game 3, the Dodgers game. And
oh, you were there.
I was there, yeah. And when he comes up to bat, like the whole stadium stuff, it's like when Bonds would come up to bat, right? Like everyone's doing their thing, they're on the phones. Then you hear his walk up song, the Michael Bublé song, and everyone just stops what they're doing, and everyone's taking a deep breath, right? Like on the edge of their seat. And I was like, this is insane. And I'm like, this is just like Bonds back in the day. It was so amazing. I mean, those guys don't come around very often, right? And what that dude is accomplishes, I mean, I know you guys are all Giants fans, but it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you have to respect it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the guy strikes out the side and then goes and hits a leadoff tank in the next inning. Like nobody's doing that.
No.
Yes.
No one's coming close to that.
Yeah, so I would have to say Barry Bonds because I mean for that exact reason. Like I remember going to games and it's just electric when he comes to play. There's nobody at the food stands. Everybody's in their seat. Everybody's paying attention.
Yep.
There's not many athletes that draw that attention these days.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Absolutely. All right, well, that pretty much wraps it up. Thank you so much for being on. I know
Thank
you
you, J
have a
Rod.
really
Yeah, of
busy
Thank
course. I
you.
day and
appreciate you
everything.
guys.
So
All
yeah,
right.
and for anybody that's watching at home, if you want to get in contact with Coach J Rod, his Instagram will be down below. Go ahead and give him a follow and reach out to him for all personal weights and stuff like that.
Yep.
So with that,
Mhm.
we say thank you again, and we'll see you all next week.
All right, guys. Thank you,
Mhm.
All
guys.
right.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you all for watching. And again, thank you to Coach Josh Rodriguez for being a part of the show and taking time out of his very busy day to be with us. With that, go ahead and share this with everybody you guys know. Like, subscribe. You know how it is. Give us some feedback down below. We're going to be moving into basketball season, within the next month or so.
Yep.
If you guys have any ideas of what you want to see, let us know and we'll do our best to implement it into the show. With that, we say thank you. Peace out.
See ya.